Razaban here for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. With me on the phone, the one and only Mr. Dave Coldwell. Dave, firstly, thank you for giving me your time. How are we doing?
I've got lots of time to give, mate. Don't worry about that.
How are we keeping up?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Yeah. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. So, yeah. All things considering, that's a blessing.
This virus looks like has caught a lot of people off guard, and obviously, when it first happened, obviously it started off in China. Did you kind of think that it'll come all the way to England and it will cause?
Mate, I'm not saying it after the effect. I was saying this while it was like growing in China, and I always watch the news. I always watch what's going off. I don't just watch the news. I read and I look at things that are going off in the world, and things that catch my eye, I always keep an eye on. And it's China, mate. There's flights to and from, and you just know it's going to get out of there. And then when it started blowing up, and then you started seeing odd case there, odd case there, then you think this is coming. And but did I expect it to be as big as this? No, I thought they'll contain it in time and whatever, and then it just started getting bigger and bigger. And yeah, it was something that a few weeks before, obviously, boxing shut down. It was something that we were expecting. It was something we spoke about in the gym, where I'll be honest with you, I just wanted to get to March 28th for Jordan's fight, and just to get that out of the way, and just so get things rolling again for him, because obviously he's been out with injury and everything. He's had a bad year. And we was looking at this as kicking him off and getting back into the big fighters again. And yeah, we got there to, it was just a couple of days before fight week started, and then obviously everything got shut down.
When it announced in the UK, I know Boris only made a recent announcement on the lockdown a couple of days ago, but a lot of people have been critical. And I know we're in the box industry, but we have a right to have our say in politics as well. But do you feel like the government should have done a lot more at the beginning, or do you think he's done it right because he's done it in stages?
Well, the thing is, it's all right for us to say he should have done this, he should have done that, but we're not aware of this. Well, we're aware if you study and if you speak to the right people, but it's very hard for us to be aware of the exact facts of what's going off, the exact facts of what's been going off around the world. They're dealing with scientists, they're dealing with top people and looking at ways. It's a massive scale. Everybody thinks, they're looking at Boris and slating him and stuff. He's dealing with something that there was no, there's no training for. And he's having to deal with it in a manner that doesn't make the public panic and start causing absolute mayhem, but also he's got to control it. And he's been advised. So what do we know? If he's been advised by the scientist and all he's doing is giving the advice and telling us what to do based on what the scientists are advising him, because he's not coming up with this. He's not saying, oh, well, I'll tell you what, we'll do this, we'll do that. He's been advised first, and then the people that know are making the decisions, and then he's basically a spokesman. So it's difficult to criticise him because we're not aware of everything. But what I will say is when it started going really bad in places like Italy, obviously China, but then when it came over to Europe and then you saw how it was growing in Italy, then I do think things needed to move a little bit quicker. We was a little bit slow on that, maybe 3 weeks too slow. And because when you're watching what's going on over there, you saw it in China and then you saw it go to Italy. Once it's in Italy, you know it's coming. You know it's a matter of time of coming. You have to close things up. You have to get on top of these things. And they didn't. So then you're allowing it to catch fire. It's like somebody that smokes in a house and the sofa starts burning and a few little embers that start setting on fire on your couch. Do you start stamping it out straight away, or do you think, I'll just wait and see, it should be all right, just let's see if that panel all burns out first, then we'll start trying to put it out? You don't. You start banging it straight away and trying to put that fire out straight away. Well, it's kind of like they've let it gather a good steam before they've put things into place. And even, obviously we kind of got put on lockdown the other day, but it's not a lockdown as in other countries are being put on a lockdown. There's a lot of confusion. There are a lot of... I've seen tonight where it's, I've just seen that they've announced, or they're announcing that off-license are classed as essential, so they can stay open. Come on, it's not essential, is it? It's not essential for off-license to stay open. But that's another, you've got that, you've got construction workers that are still working. You're not being locked down, so the virus is going to be able to move freely. So, it's good. I think they've handled it in a way that stopped the panic. I thought, do it in measures and bit by bit so people don't have a full-scale breakdown. Because you look at what's happening in supermarkets. You look at how people have reacted. They've reacted in the worst possible way to get, if you're making massive decisions like that, they've reacted the worst possible way for you to take any confidence in how people react to something, something major and very, very strict.
Obviously, we talk about, call it a partial lockdown that Boris announced a couple of days ago, but images surfaced yesterday morning, the day after, London tubes absolutely packed. And do you think we need to go down and have a completely full lockdown like other countries?
Well, so I'm just like everybody else, sat here watching and reading and looking stuff. But I've got a very good, intelligent friend out in Spain, in Madrid. And I've got a friend that's intelligent that's out in Italy as well. And they're telling me what's happening. And it's scary. It's frightening shit. It really is. And so you have to think, well, that is coming. You look at the timeline and the trajectory and you think, well, that's coming over here. I don't want that shit coming over here. And they went into lockdown well before it even got started getting as bad as what it is, obviously, and it's still grown to what it is. But we're allowing things to be moving. We're allowing that tube, mate. When Boris came out and said, I don't want you to be going out here, I thought, yeah, fair play. But in hindsight, obviously, for the people and the masses that are out there, it wasn't. I think that this country, and I think the people in this country, we don't take orders too well. We don't take people telling us what to do too well. Places like Russia, where you've got Putin and places like that telling you, you will do this, you won't do that, and people listen. China, same, because they enforce it. They've got a reputation of enforcing things. Here, people just go, what are you going to do? Are you going to stop me? And so they're just carrying on about the daily lives, a lot of people. And when you're doing that, when you saw the pictures and the footage of the tube, that's just crazy shit, that is. That's just... It's just this mentality of, it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to affect me. And until one of your family gets it and, suffers from it, or even worse, dies from it, then a lot of these people perhaps just think that they're going to be all right. And, to an extent, I've right from the start, because I've got kids, so I think of things a little bit different. My wife's family, both her sets of grandparents are alive. She's got older aunties and uncles. So there's a lot of people in my life that I love that are old. So I was straight away worried for them. I'm not worried about it for me, because I feel as though I feel fit. I feel very, very strong. I feel very, very healthy. But my daughter's she's had problems with respiratory issues in the past. So my worry's always been about her. So I've perhaps been a little bit more overprotective about her. So she was actually on lockdown before Boris came out and said people can't go. I'd stopped her from going out and seeing her friends and stuff like that for about 3 or 4 days before that, because I was worried about, obviously, her getting it. But then I started seeing these guys. I'll tell you what made an effect for me is I saw a marathon runner, very fit, no underlying medical issues with him, very fit, 36-year-old marathon runner. he got it, and he was in a bad way. And I thought, wow, if he's gonna get it, then I'm not bulletproof. Do you know what I mean? I'm not corona-proof. I can get it. So that kind of made me deal with it more smarter in my own respect. And so I think a lot of people are perhaps going to be like that, but a lot of people took it to the extreme where they're still putting other people in danger. Whereas I wasn't really worried about myself, but I was worried about the people around me and the older people. So I weren't going about here, there, and everywhere. These people that are just going about their own business, I think it's ridiculous. And the worst thing is the company owners. You know, the people that are. I mean, that Mike Ashley tried doing, that stroke that he tried doing. I mean, that just shows you what kind of man he is. You know, these people that have got no feelings towards people that are working for them, people that they're encouraging to come to the shops that can spread it all sorts. They're part of they're a massive part of the problem.
And Dave, in terms of like from a fighter perspective, I know you got Opie, you've got Jordan as well in the gym, but from a mental perspective, these guys are fighters. All they know is to fight. Like they don't have a date, they don't have an idea when boxing will resume. How do you manage and kind of protect them and help them through this period?
It's awful, mate. It really is. And like I said, we were so close to Jordan's fight. He was devastated. But then we decided, right, okay, listen, it is what it is. You know, we can't control what's happening out there, but we can control how we react to it. So let's keep his heads down. Don't go off the rails. Obviously we're going to ease off, but let's carry on training, carry on learning, getting better. You'll just be able to eat more. You'll be able to fuel yourself more because you've not got weight to make. So we're going to carry on. We are carrying on. The fighters are carrying on. But mentally, it takes a lot of strength and a lot of focus for them to be able to handle what's going off, to be able to handle being basically locked down and not having the freedom, and to have that motivation to train as well. But what I will say is, and I say it to a lot of fighters out there, is, there's 24 hours in a day. We are now in a position where we're all bored shitless. We're all, trying to find things to do. So for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever you want to do it, you can find that time in your 24 hours to do a little bit of a workout, to keep on top of things. So when this clears up, and I've said it before, when the world resets and they press that restart button, you're there ready to go. You've not got to then shift 2 stone for the first 4 or 5 weeks trying to crash it off, and then start camp. Because that's what a lot of fighters end up doing is putting all this weight, and then they're spending a month, 6, 7 weeks trying to shift a load of dead weight that put on that they didn't need to put on, to then go into camp and start training hard. Be in that position where you've not got as much weight to shift, and then you can get straight. Spend a couple of weeks getting back into it, and then you can go into camp properly and hit the ground running. So you're at the front of the queue to get take up the dates, and because once this clears up, all the promoters are going to want to get back out there. TV networks are going to want to be putting on a show. People are going to want sport. There's going to be a thirst for sport, and you want to be at the front of the queue. And this is what we do. We work in professional boxing. You're a professional fighter. I know it's very, very hard, but try and stick with it and try and do it. It's like if you had an injury, if you broke your hand in a fight and you can't use it for X amount of weeks, but you'd still probably go in the gym and do everything else apart from hitting with that one hand. So you kind of got to keep that mentality going. It's hard for the coaches. It's hard for everyone. Listen, it's hard for me. I'm struggling because I don't stop. I'm 24/7, 100 mile an hour. Whether it's boxing, football, or music with my daughter, I'm here, there, and everywhere. But I need my mind occupied, and I'm always watching fights. I'm always watching things, and I've been working on things in the gym with the lads, new things. as a coach, I'm always, you're trying to change and trying to learn yourself and try and add things to your game. And I feel as though there's a big fat pause button just pressing down on my head, and I can't move forward. I'm one of these that I'm up till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning sometimes, watching and studying fights, because I'm that busy during the day that I don't get time in the day. I don't sleep well. So now I found myself, I'm watching fights, I'm watching stuff in the day. So then it gets to night time, it's like I'm trying to watch a film and just to pass time on, because I don't really sleep very well. So the days are very, very long. But it is what it is, and we all have to handle it in our own way. There's far worse situations I could be in.
Dave, what about the financial aspect of it? Obviously, fighters don't even earn money. Do you think the British Board of Boxing Control should introduce something? I know something like this has never happened before.
They haven't got the money. They haven't got the money. They don't. They keep telling us on all sorts of stuff that they ain't got the money for. So they're not going to do that. It's not something that they'll do. That's a guaranteed fact. I don't know what their exact overheads are, but when they keep showing these statement accounts and stuff like that, these meetings and stuff, they're not flush with money, so they're not going to be in a position to start dishing out money to fighters. Especially when you consider the amount of money that they do earn off the shows and stuff. I don't know what they're going to do, but they won't do anything for fighters. I can guarantee you that.
The weather seems like it's got better all of a sudden as well. I don't know what it's like in Sheffield.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's a godsend, that is, because can you imagine if it were pissing down rain every day and you're actually locked in your house just looking at grey clouds and listening to it rain at your windows? At least, if you've got a garden, you can sit in your garden. You can, if you've got a balcony, you can sit on your balcony. If you live in an high-rise, when the weather's better, things are nicer. And then when you can go for your one walk a day, you're not getting piss wet through. But it's going back to the money. It's very hard for the fighters because they're not fighting, so they're not earning, and they've still got bills coming out of their accounts. It's not just obviously mortgages, and they're talking about deferring mortgage payments for 3 months, which is fantastic. But it's not just mortgages. A lot of fighters. People in life in general, they've got cars on finance, they've got car insurance, they've got house insurance, there's all sorts, there's bills, gas, electric, there's all sorts of bills, and then there's food on top. And when you've got no money coming in, all that is you're watching your bank account disappear, and it disappears pretty quickly as well. And it's very, very hard, it's very, very tough. I think it's going to hit a lot of fighters, and a lot of the fighters that are operating on a small haul I think are going to end up having to do what the old school fighters did, what even fighters in my generation used to. They'd be working and then going to the gym after work to train, because to be a full-time fighter is very expensive. It's a big drain on whatever money you've got, and you're kind of like living from hand to mouth, hoping for the big fight. When the big fights come, then they can start earning some money and start paying off their overdrafts and start, moving forward that way. But with this, we don't know how long we're going to be out for, and a lot of fighters like Jordan, he paid for nutritionists, paid for S&C training. A lot of fighters do that, and then you haven't got a fight at the end of it. So not only have you paid for that for nothing, then before your next fight, where you are actually going to pay, you've got to pay for all that again. So it's and your living costs. So it's a very, very hard time for everybody involved in the sport. Like I said, there's fighters, trainers, there's people that work on the shows, the drivers for the promoters, press guys, everybody. Everybody's going to make a living. Everybody's going to earn something. And when you're relying on that one thing or one person or sport to pay you your bills, and then that stops and grinds to a halt, you're fucked.
Dave, there's been talks this week. Eddie Hearn did an interview with IFL, and he said that if worse came to worse and we had to put fights behind closed doors and in studios, it's something that we will look at.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? And have fighters fighting with basically no fans?
Listen, I've heard people straight away slagging this idea off and stuff like that. But he was going to do that. I spoke to him just before they actually shut it down. The border control pulled it because we couldn't guarantee the medics and doctors and stuff inside, which fair play, I understand that. But Eddie was willing to do shows behind closed doors to keep the fighters active and to put the fighters out there. Listen, it's going to be shit. It'll be absolute dog shit because I don't know if you watched it. I watched Man United out in the Europa League playing behind closed doors, and I watched that on TV, and it was shit to watch. I mean, we won 5-0. Igalo scored an absolute world. If the crowd was there, the atmosphere would have been brilliant because it was a fucking unbelievable goal. But because it was just in front of their bench and some stewards at ground, it was shit. And it was like and so you can imagine boxing. Boxing's bad enough when a lot of fighters out there that's listening, they'll have boxed on dinner shows and things like that. You'll be at dinner shows when you watch amateur boxing, and all you're hearing is "Come on, red, come on, blue." You're hearing odd clutter of glasses as they're having a drink, and that's all you're hearing really. And it's shit. Now it'll be even worse than that. The atmosphere will be absolutely dog shit. But I've got to say, the fighters need to earn, and so the fighters, if they don't fight and say, "Oh no, I'm not doing it. I'll wait until it's been lifted." That might be another month after, or another 6-8 weeks after. We don't know. It could be a case of where, look, do you want to earn some money or not? And they'll take a fight. It'll be weird. It'll be strange, but ultimately you have to adapt. Because like I said, this is their livelihoods.
Eddie did say that if it was a major event, and we're talking some of the major events he announced, White, Povetkin, Chisora, Usyk.
Yeah.
If he couldn't put those, if the fans weren't allowed in, he had no choice, and it was September, October, he would potentially look at putting that as pay-per-view. Potentially. Do you think people will buy it though?
What, and do it behind closed doors? Yeah. Those big fights behind closed doors, pay-per-view. You see, the big fights behind closed doors would be strange. I mean, they would be strange because could you imagine it's hard. Could you imagine a Dylan White who's used to boxing in front of 18,000 people, all of a sudden boxing in front of a couple hundred people that's just like other fighters and medics and security? It'd be difficult. It'd be difficult. But also, so would people pay? I think it's hard to say. I think people would, because there is no sport. There was some marble racing footage that I saw on Twitter the other day, and I ended up watching it from the start to the finish, and I was like, actually invested in it. Who's going to win this? Because there's no sport. And you kind of like you got to think, well, would people watch it? Maybe, but I don't. I mean, it won't be a 20 quid job. Maybe if it's like a tenner, then maybe. But I don't know. It's very difficult because it's going to be very eerie to watch because there's no atmosphere. It's weird. It is. So I mean, listen. Hopefully, it doesn't come to that. But fights, everything gets lifted and we can all get about our lives very soon. But I don't actually think it is going to be very soon. I think this is going to go on quite a while. I really do.
Dave, I'm not sure if you saw the WBC's announcement with regards to their drug testing program.
Oh yeah, I saw that. You've seen it? Stupid.
What was your reaction when you saw that?
Oh man, I just think that. Do you know what? I just think to myself sometimes, who the fuck is running the big shit in this fucking sport of ours? WBC is, or was, the most prestigious, most valued title and belt in boxing. It is what it is. That green and gold belt. It is what it is. But then you see what they've started doing, where every gemstone, they're just going through the gemstones on Earth to find a reason to use one and create a belt for it. And they're cheapening the brand because they're coming out with these different belts. And, you know, if that's not bad enough, then they go and actually announce to the world that they're just going to, you know, they're going to suspend a clean boxing program and fucking suspend testing and shit like that. That's just ridiculous. That's just telling all cheaters to cheat. It's just giving a big fat green light on anybody who wants to cheat, just to say, go and get your cycle in, go and get a couple of cycles in, you'll be all good, don't worry about it. And I just think it's stupid. You just think, when you're sat there and you're discussing what you're going to do, at what point does somebody, if you come up with this dumb idea and say, let's announce, yes, we've got to suspend because people's health, I understand that. So at what point when somebody comes up and says, we'll announce it to the world and let all cheaters know that they're free to do what they want to do, at what point does nobody sat around that table, or nobody connected to you, or nobody that you're told that you're going to do that, say to you, how come there's nobody, not one person turns around and says to you, that's a little bit of a dumb idea because you are given a green light? And if somebody else said that and you then turn around and said, no, I know what I'm doing, you're a prick and you're an idiot, and that's exactly what you've given yourself off to be. And I think UCAD and WBC that have done that, I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed in WBC doing that, because they saw the reaction of UCAD. Because when UCAD did that, everybody slated them, and the WBC have just gone and done the exact same thing. Announced it. No need to announce it. No need to announce it.
Dave, do you think something bigger needs to happen now with these governing bodies? We just talked there about WBC and the drug testing, but just generally the belts, so many new belts, regular interim. Is it getting to a stage where it's just like, it's so unacceptable now, where Dana White said many, many months ago that, you know, if I come to boxing, I'll have my own version of belts. Does it require someone like that? Because everyone holds things like the WBC as the most prestigious belt in boxing, but is it time where it's dated now? It needs something new.
It just needs them to be run properly. It needs them to be run properly. Listen, remember when interim belts first came out? Interim belts came out because it was supposed to be for if a champion becomes injured and is unable to fight for a long period of time. So just to keep the title active and keep everything running smoothly, you'd be interim champion. And then if you're interim champion, once the champion's healthy again, you would fight the champion, and then it'd go back to being one champion. That's what it was supposed to be. And then it just seemed to be, we need a title, my kid's good, your kid's good. Right, I'll tell you what, let's make it an interim title. So it's an interim title now. So you've got an interim champion, and then you've got a world champion. But then now it progressed from that. So fucking fighters who are interim champions are getting promoted to become world champions via email. That's bollocks. And I mean some good fight. Listen, I rate Devon Haney, and I think he's a great fighter, a great prospect, a great young prospect, a great young, now he's a champion. But is he a world champion? Do I look at him and think he's a world champion? Not until you've fought. He's got to win a world title fight to be world champion. This being promoted by email, mate, you're taking it away from fighter as well. You know, when Michael Buffer or Jimmy Lennon or whoever it is in ring and say, and they're new, that's something we all dream about. We all dream about it. You know, and you're taking that away because you're not getting that now. You're getting sent an email, or the promoter's getting sent an email. He's picking up the phone and saying, hey, guess what? You're now world champion. Great. But then when you go into fight, you're being introduced as the champion. You're never getting that feeling of winning a world title fight, winning a world title belt. Do you know what I mean? So it's taken away from that side of things. And then WBA, I mean, how many champions do you have in each division for the WBA? It's just a joke, and it's just. I don't think it's a good thing. There's interim, there's super, there's regular. I mean, fuck me. It's shit. But don't get me wrong. Listen, I'm not gonna. I'll tell you how it is. Don't get me wrong. If my fighter gets a phone call and says, "Do you want to fight for WBA regular title?" Do you think I'm going to turn it down? No, I'm not. Just because there's somebody else that stood there, super champion. No, of course I'm not. Nobody's going to do that. This is how it is. You can't. You've got to move your fighters into, because when your fighter's got that belt, then he's got a bit of power and he's going to earn a bit more money. Do you understand? So I'm slagging it off, but at the same time, it's there. While it's not my job to take that away. I can't control that, so it's there. You know. So my fighters get an opportunity to fight from. Yeah, I will do. But would I behind closed doors, would you take the piss? Yeah, you would. You would take the piss. You'd be taking, if your fighter became world champion by email, behind closed doors, you'd be taking piss out of them, just having a bit of banter in gym until they've won a world title fight. This is a problem. Is I forget who won a world title. Somebody became a world champion via email and then never won a world title fight. I think they drew or something. I can't remember. Might have drawn or lost, and then so they never actually won a world title fight. But yet they're a former world champion. Well, you weren't, because you never won a world title fight. If you've won a world title fight, fair dues, then you've got it. So if you got promoted to be, so Devon Haney becomes promoted to become a world champion, then he's sanctioned as to fight for a world title fight. He wins it, yeah, fair enough. But you can't be a world champion without winning a world title fight.
Interesting, very interesting. But let's hope something can be done about this. I don't see it.
It's not going to get done because of the money. Like I said, because there's money at the top for sanction fees and stuff like that, and also it gives TV gets promote a world title fight. They can tag it to a world title fight, and it gives the fighter the opportunity. And ultimately, the fighters need the opportunities and the money that comes with the opportunities of fighting for world titles. So they're never going to turn it down. So that's what it's that, it's there. That's what it's going to be. And I remember the WBA came out, and they because when Jamie was WBA champion, WBA regular champion, they turned around and said they were going to clean it up, and him and I forget who was the other champion at the time, and they was going to match them two to fight each other, and they put out an email saying they were going to have one world champion at every weight. Fantastic. But then that never happened, and they never did it going forward. So they obviously changed their mind because of the financial situation.
Dave, just quickly, some potential fights that we were all looking forward to that are not happening. Just want to get your thoughts on them. A fight that wasn't officially announced, but we know that it was going to be announced. Eddie said there was going to be a press conference for it. Was Billy Joe and Canelo. Gutted for Billy?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. That's a good fight, You know what, Canelo, say what you want about him, but he just seems to be getting better and better. And he's a fighter that takes, he's been taking risks. I mean, the step up to light heavyweight to fight Kovalev. Yeah, Kovalev's not the same Kovalev, but he still punches hard. He still punches hard, and he's still an established light heavyweight champion and an elite champion. So for him to step up and take him on was a gamble, a calculated gamble, but a gamble. And he does things like that. His ledger and his record. He's fought a lot of good names, a lot of good fighters, some resume. And it'll be interesting to see what he's learned, because obviously you see how much he's learned from the Mayweather loss. But it'll be interesting to see what he's learned from the Lara fight. And with the southpaws that he's fought with in the past, where he's struggled as well with the southpaw movers, where he's struggled, and see how he handles with Billy Joe's style, because Billy Joe's I've seen Billy Joe box for years, and yeah, he's a good fighter. I rate him, yeah, but I never thought he was a superstar. I just thought he was a good fighter. And then I remember when I was helping Adam Booth in the corners, and we had Andy Lee box Billy Joe for the world title. And you know when you're up close and you're in the opposite corner and you see the sort of things that Billy Joe... I always say that there's always a difference between watching really good fighters on TV and seeing them in the other corner. When you see him in the other corner, because you're that focused and that locked in on every little thing that they're doing, you notice different things. And he's good, man. He's very good. And then I've seen him in sparring a couple of times when he's out of shape and the shit that he can do. He's very, very good. The only thing is does he hit hard enough to keep Canelo off him? I don't think he has to hit hard, but I think he has to have a blend of respect for his the effect of the punches, to be able to keep him off balance and to just stop him in his tracks a little bit. And he has to have the feet, and he's got the feet, he's got the moves, he's got the ability, but does he get a decision? And I don't think I can't. Well, I don't think I'm convinced he's not going to stop Canelo. Do I think he could beat him, outbox him? I do think he could, yeah. But do I think he'd get a points decision? No, I don't know. So it's a very hard fight. It's a very difficult fight for him.
Let's hope that fight happens. There's a lot of rumours at the moment that if the fight doesn't take place in the summer, then Canelo may just go into that third Triple G fight in September. So
yeah, and do you know what the thing is about that with the Triple G fight? I'll be honest with you. I like the first two fights. I've always liked Triple G, but I said after the second fight straight away, I hope they don't fight again because he'll get absolutely bashed in a third one. I think he is just aging. He's aging. And I don't think he's got any chance of beating Canelo in the third fight, because you look at the time scale of it again. You know, he's going to be even older by the time he gets around to that fight. So I don't think he wins that fight. So I'd rather see Canelo fight Billy Joe, because that is actually an intriguing fight as well.
On the same night, we were supposed to see in the UK Dillian Whyte against Povetkin. Povetkin, obviously, we know he had that loss with Anthony Joshua, and his only other loss, I believe it was Klitschko. But Povetkin is, I think, hitting 40 now, or he is 40. Yeah. Tough fight for Dillian, either way?
Do you know what? It's a good fight. I know some people were panning it, but it is actually a good fight, because you look at Dillian Whyte's style, you look at Povetkin's style. They are both exciting fights that come to knock you out. So it's going to be an exciting fight. What's Povetkin got left? It's still... I mean, it showed in his fight with Hunter. He got off to a really slow start, and then he started clawing it back. I still think he lost it. I thought Hunter outboxed him, but Hunter boxes in a different way to what Dillian Whyte does. He's a lot more mobile. And he throws his hands a lot faster, so which gave Povetkin problems. Dillian and Povetkin, I just think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a shootout. And also, Dillian's at this point where, you know, he's had a lot of fights, a lot of tough fights, and he's the guy that keeps having to fight somebody, and he chooses to take these tough tests, and he chooses to take these real fights, which is great for us as fans, and which is great for him on his ledger because he's fighting real fighters. But wear and tear on him as a fighter, it's not so good. And, you know, he's at a point now, I think, where he desperately needs to get a world title shot, because otherwise he's gonna come just that little bit too late for him, I think. So I'd like to see him get a world title fight as soon as possible. And obviously coming through Povetkin unscathed. I think it's very important that he's got his smart head on, and it doesn't stand too much in range. Because Povetkin he closes his shots off really quick, and he puts his little combinations together very, very quick. It's a good fight. I think Dillian can win the fight, but I think it's a very good fight, and it's an exciting fight. That's the thing about it. It's an exciting fight.
A fight that is probably the most most people are intrigued about is the return of Usyk back in the UK. You obviously fought him with Tony Bellew, and a fighter you trained for a little while, Derek Chisora, seems like he will be going up against Usyk potentially later this year. Usyk, obviously, I believe it was at Weatherspoon he fought not long ago. And obviously he's not known to be the biggest heavyweight puncher, but and Derek Chisora seems like he's got this second wind about him in his career. Is this a trial and test to see where Derek and Usyk are both in their careers?
Yeah. I think you've just you pretty much nailed that. It's a very good fight for Usyk, getting a name in the division. Who's stylistically, feet wise, you would expect Usyk would rather fight somebody like that. But he beats him, and then he's beating a genuine name in the division. But also for Derek, if he was to derail Usyk, the man that they're all talking about as the next, the new wave for the division, then it puts Derek right at the top, as in the front of the queue for an opportunity at a world title shot. So it's a good fight for them both, but also potentially it's a very, very hard fight for them both. Usyk, I think ability-wise, I think he's fantastic. I really am a big fan of his feet, at what he does, his brain, his intelligence, his angles. It's just his trickery. I think he's a very good fighter. The only thing I will say is that I'm just wondering that with the miles on the clock, with the extra weight of him coming up to heavyweight, is that putting a toll on his body? Because it seems, I might be wrong, but it seems to be getting quite a lot of injuries since this move to heavyweight has arisen. Maybe the extra weight and whatever you're on him is taking a toll on him, and maybe that's causing some of the injuries. I don't know, but if that's the case, then he's not going to be as great at heavyweight as what we thought at first. Because, like I said, sometimes when you put extra weight on, it just does things to you, and it imbalances you. It's not your natural sort of weight that you should be at, and it can cause injuries. So maybe that's the case. We'll see in this fight. And I know Derek's looking fitter and stronger, and he's looking really well, and he's really up for this. And one thing about Derek is you can't write him off, and he can punch, and if he catches you right, then nanai. But you've got to say that it's going to take more than just being fit for him to if Usyk has got his legs and his movement and he can carry the weight right, then it's going to take more than just being fit, because you have to be able to. That pressure's got to be able to tell in an intelligent way. You have to be able to close that range. Remember when Usyk fought Marco Huck? Huck thought it was just going to come straight. Huck, big puncher, relentless, and he thought he was just going to walk straight through him and just throw millions of punches and walk straight through him. And it didn't turn out that way because Usyk's feet were too good. His feet and his ring intelligence was too good, and he was never in that position for you to be able to for Huck to be able to get his big bombs off, and his position himself was very good at nullifying Huck and keeping Huck off balance, and which tired him out. And then also when you look at him when he fought Joe Joyce in the amateurs, he handled Joyce coming at him, and then ended up after a couple of rounds putting Joyce on the back foot. So although he doesn't have to hit. It doesn't have to be the biggest of punches. It hits hard enough to get respect. He knows how to tire you out. And once you start getting tired, then it starts going to work. So that's where Derek's got to be careful, and he's got to be more intelligent rather than I just need to be fit and just throw punches. And, he has to be a bit more intelligent in that.
Dave, June 20th was booked Tottenham Hotspur to hold their first ever boxing event. Anthony Joshua and Pulev. Pulev, again, I believe one loss only to Vladimir Klitschko. But they say Pulev has probably one of the best jabs in the heavyweight division. But again, is Pulev towards the end of his career as well now?
Maybe, but that's who AJ's got to fight. it's a fight that has to happen. Which belt is it? Is he manager for?
IBF, I believe. IBF.
Yeah, IBF. That's it. So AJ doesn't want to give up the IBF belt, so he has to fight him. So it is what it is. But Pulev's a dangerous fighter. Yes, yeah, he has a great jab. Do you know the funny thing is, AJ before Ruiz, I'd have said that this could be a tough. Before the second Ruiz fight, I would have said that this could be a tough fight for AJ. But now AJ's shown another dimension to him, a dimension that I never thought that he had. We'd not seen it before. We'd not seen him get out there and box. So he can mix it. He can box. He can be smart, and he can fight. So I think he'll look well against Pulev. I think that'll be a good fight for him because Pulev's bigger. He's not. Big fighters, tall fighters don't like punching down on short, squat guys. It's always a bit tentative. It's always a little bit dangerous for him. Whereas Pulev's more straight up, straight backed. I think that'll suit AJ a lot better, and I think he'll look more explosive, but still mixed in with some ring smarts in that fight.
Dave, just before I end, I've got to ask you because I see your tweets that I don't agree with at times. Liverpool to be given the Premier League title.
Somebody's going to bring up Liverpool, aren't they?
Quite disturbing tweet. They should actually block you for putting things out like that. But as a Liverpool fan, the Premier League, what should happen, do you think? Right. Jokes aside. No, jokes aside. We're not just talking about Liverpool and the league. We're talking about promotion, Champions League spots.
Yeah. No, do you know what? Banter aside, I'm a football coach from a little boys' football team. And like I do with my fighters, I tell fighters which fighters to watch for this reason, which fighters to watch for that reason. Well, football, I'm the same with the kids, and it kills me. But you have to say to him, look at what he's doing. Terence Trent-Arnold, look at what he's doing. Firmino, look at what Jordan Ennis. You're going through the team, and whether it's a defender in Van Dijk, whether it's a striker in Mo Salah, and as a team how they work together and what they do. They've been brilliant. They've done brilliant this season. All that talk about being best team ever and all that sort of shit. I mean, that just did prove to be shit, to be fair, because you've ended up like all you're going to win is the league. So you're not that great. I mean, I've got to say, you're not as great as 99 treble winners. Do you know what I mean? A lot of things like that. But they have been great. They've been great to watch. And they're only a couple of wins away from winning the league. So they were going to win the league. That's it. You can't knock that. But I think obviously it's very hard with the league because. When will this happen? We don't know. What happens if nothing gets going until September? Are you still going to say finish off the season? I don't think so. I think what they'll probably do is they'll probably give Liverpool the title. So you didn't win it, you got to give it. and I don't think. I think what they'll do is probably not have anybody get relegated this season. Perhaps. Have the promotional spots, no playoffs, no playoff positions, just the top two will get promoted, and just have bigger leagues in the season, in the new season. I think that's the way to do it. I don't know. What do you reckon? Take your Liverpool out off.
Like for example, Sheffield United, right?
Yeah.
They are, I think, 7th or 8th in the Premier League.
Yeah.
They got a game in hand. If they win that game in hand.
Yeah.
They're in 5th position.
Yeah.
Their argument could be, well, that's our Champions League spot if Man City don't go in it.
Yeah, but aren't Man City getting kicked out of the Champions League?
Well, I saw today that there was a letter sent to some sort of tribunal from the top 10 Premier League clubs, excluding Man City and Sheffield United, saying that City have to be banned even while they're in the appeal process.
Right.
So I personally think, like you say, you just don't know when the league's going to start. Yeah. So let's not even talk about next season. Let's just try to find a way to finish this season for the integrity of the sport.
Finish the season, even if it started September. Finish the season still, you think?
I personally think that football probably won't even start until November, as late as that.
Well, I was going to say I can't see anything starting until September myself.
Yeah.
At least. So what I'm saying there then is, if that's the case, you can't finish off this season. You can't. It's just because then you're screwing up moving forward. I think it's a case of just avoid. Not you're not going to avoid it as such, but cancelling the season, giving them the trophy. So this season it'll just be a cheapened trophy, a tin pot trophy this season, and then no relegation.
Can't help yourself, Dave, can you?
You don't understand how bad it was when it looked like you were going to win, you were going to be invincible all season. That would have killed me. That would have absolutely killed me.
But as a Liverpool fan, Dave, I must say this. Never did I once say to any of my friends, invincibility, treble, or winning 4 trophies.
Oh, that's you, though. But so many of them were. Oh, mate.
I wanted was the Premier League.
All the time.
So, and we couldn't do anything better.
It is a big thing. You do deserve a Premier League title, definitely. But like I said, unfortunate for you, I think how it's going to happen is that you won't win it, you'll get it given. So you'll always have an asterisk against that league winners. That's just how it is, and then pressure's on you to win it next season.
Dave Cole, we'll suffice on that. I won't let you carry on talking about Liverpool because you're just putting pain in my heart right now in this troubled time.
We're coming back. United are coming back. I'm telling you, they're coming back. They'll be out next season. We won't win it next season, but we'll be back. We'll be back challenging next season.
I think just generally speaking, I think most teams are going to be even stronger next year. Man City, Arsenal with Arteta, Lampard with Chelsea. I just think it's. Do you
think Man City? Do you think that if they get banned from Champions League for a couple of years, do you not think that players like De Bruyne and other top players are not going to leave?
Nah.
I think they will.
Because I feel like, one, they get paid a hell of a lot of money.
It doesn't matter. Players like that could get paid a hell of a lot of money.
But the problem is, David, you see the attraction now, and you're looking at, for example.
What is the attraction at Man City apart from?
No, but just generally speaking, if you look at
money.
Coutinho went to Barcelona, right?
Yeah.
And no one knows about Coutinho anymore. Look at Hazard going to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And no one knows about Hazard anymore. People stop talking about him. The Premier League is the most attractive league without doubt, and it's those players. Will they leave? And I know some have in the past, but would you leave for?
I would tell you now, De Bruyne and players like that are coming towards the peak. They want Champions League football. They would, if it's not abroad, they would go to Liverpool. And somebody like De Bruyne, you've got to say that he would strengthen. He's a top player. So I think even he's because I rate Liverpool, I really do. But he's somebody that would strengthen the team. Would he? Not just Liverpool. There's other clubs that can afford him. But if it's Champions League, because I just think when you're a player like that, you're coming towards the peak of your game. You want to be in that Champions League football. You want to be playing at the top level. And I also think Pep leaves. I think Pep leaves if they get banned. Yeah, I do.
Even after he said that, even if we go into Division 1, I'll still be here.
Yeah, I reckon he leaves. I reckon he leaves.
Interesting times across everywhere.
I reckon he leaves. Half the players leave, and Liverpool get an asterisk against the league title win.
David, cutting this interview. I'm going to edit all of this out. David Coldwell, always.
I'm welcoming all abuse because I'm that bored. I'm welcoming it all, so I'm not bothered.
55 minutes and counting. Dave, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. You've always been generous with me personally over the many years that I've known you with your time.
No worries,
quick text, and you're always easy to get hold of.
I appreciate it, mate. I appreciate it.
All the very best to you. Stay safe. Hope your family stays safe as well.
Thank you, and same goes to you and everybody that's listening. And
without doubt, I'm sure in about 2 weeks' time, I'll probably send you another text and say, Dave, another one.
Cool. No worries, man.
Dave Coldwell for IFL TV. Thank you very much.
Take care. See you later, man. Bye.
Thank you.